Hi everyone, welcome back to Cooking with Teacher Pat. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make granola. Now granola is typically something that people like to eat for breakfast with warm or cold milk as a cereal, or like me, I like to put it on top of my yogurt. Some people also like to put it as a crunchy topping for their ice cream. And there's so many different variations to granola. Today I'm going to teach you guys a really simple one using coconut flakes. And usually I would put almonds, but today I'm not going to put almonds in it because my son can't have them. But normally I would put almonds in it if I'm eating it myself. And vanilla. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is 3.5 cups of old-fashioned oats, not quick cooking oats, okay guys? You need to have the old-fashioned oats because these are going to be roasting in the oven low and slow. The next item you're going to need is 1/2 cup of coconut shreds or coconut flakes. This is coconut flakes, and they're not sweetened. You can absolutely use a sweet one if you like, but these are unsweetened. You can also add almonds, but like I said, today's recipe, I'm not going to put almonds in it because my son cannot eat them. So today I'm going to double up on my coconut, okay? The next thing you're going to need is 1/2 cup of water, 1/2 cup of sugar. You can adjust this to your taste. I've done it with half the amount and the full amount. I just prefer it to be on the little bit of a sweeter side, especially if you're eating with milk. So I'm going to be using 1/2 cup of sugar today. You also need a 1/4 teaspoon of regular table salt and a 1/4 cup of the recipe normally requires canola oil or grapeseed oil or some kind of non-flavor oil, but today I'm going to be using coconut oil. Okay, if you've never used coconut oil before, it usually comes in a jar like this, and it's solid. Okay, and once you melt it, it turns clear like this. Now, coconut oil will give your granola a slight coconut flavor, but I don't mind that because I love coconut. So if you're not a coconut fan, please use canola oil or grapeseed oil or some kind of non-flavored oil, okay? The next thing you need is 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, any one that you have at home. And this is optional, but I'm also going to be adding chia seeds in my granola. Okay guys, so the first thing you're going to do in a big mixing bowl is mix all your dry ingredients. The oats, your coconut, if you're using any nuts, this is where you would do it. And I'm only going to put half the chia seeds in there for now because I'm not sure how much I want to use. Just give it a good mix and then set your bowl aside. Next, on the stove, over medium-high heat, you're going to heat up the water, your sugar, and your salt, and you're going to dissolve all the salt and sugar. And once that's fully dissolved, then you're going to add your vanilla and your oil. So here it is, all dissolved now. And now I'm going to pull it off the fire, and I'm going to add all of the oil and a tablespoon of vanilla. A little extra wouldn't hurt anybody. You can see I spilled some, that's okay. And then you're just going to give it a good stir. And then now you're going to add it to your oats. Okay, so now you dump everything in, and then you're just going to give it a really good stir and just make sure everything's really well incorporated. And then I realized at this point that I wanted more chia seed in my granola. Of course, you don't have to use it if you don't want, but it does give a nice little crunch at the end. So I'm going to mix it all in there. Extra chia seed always doesn't hurt anyone. Great protein, great fiber. And then after that, you're going to grab a tray, and mine is lined with my Silplat liner. If you don't have this, I would recommend using parchment paper. Don't use aluminum foil because I've done that before, and then all my granola stuck to the foil. So use parchment paper if you don't have a Silplat. And then you're going to scrape everything out the bowl, and then you're going to press it down in an even layer on your mat. This, if you press it down more firmly, then this will ensure bigger clusters of granola. Like I mentioned earlier, there's so many combinations. You can use almonds. I would normally make this recipe with almonds, but of course, because my son is allergic, I'm not going to be using almonds in this recipe today, but you can also do sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, pecans, walnuts, whatever you want, guys. There's so many different combinations. And if you want to use dry fruit, add it at the end after your granola is dried. That's it, parents. Now all that we have to do after we smooth it out is we're going to pop it in our oven. Before I started, I had my oven going at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. I know it sounds really low, but the reason why is because It's going to be roasting in the oven low and slow at 200 degrees for 2 hours. I know it sounds crazy, but you know what? It's going to ensure that you're going to have a nice even crunch over everything. All that water is going to evaporate eventually. Your oats are going to be fully cooked and it's going to be nice and crunchy. Now, some granola recipes require for you to toss it or mix it around halfway through cooking. This one does not. You just leave it in there. Don't touch it. Don't open your oven, because if you're going to mix it around, you're not going to get those nice big clusters of granola that most people love. Another thing you might have noticed was that I added half of my chia seed. I used about 1/4 cup of chia seed in here, and you can see it's pretty speckled. Okay, you know what a big fan of chia I am. A lot of great omega fats, really high in fiber, good protein. I added half of it first because I wasn't sure if I wanted that much. And then after I mixed everything through and the chia stuck to everything, then I realized, like, you know what, I'm going to use my full 1/4 cup. So in the oven this goes, 2 hours, 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and then our granola is going to be ready. Your house is going to smell amazing. We'll see you in 2 hours. All right, everyone, it's been 2 hours, and now we are going to check on our granola. Now, the way to know if it's ready or not is when you remove it from the oven and touch the top. It should feel fairly dry. If it's still sticky, whoa, look at that. If it's still sticky, that means it still needs to bake a little bit longer. So let's just take it out. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. All that coconut in there got nicely toasted. If you had almonds in here, they would be nicely toasted. So I'm just gonna give it a quick touch, and yeah, it feels dry to me. So now all we're gonna do is we're gonna let it cool down completely. This is gonna be your hardest part. You have to let it cool down, because then all the sugars in there is gonna get nice and hard, and then that's when you're gonna get that nice crunch. So we'll see you guys back when it's nice and cooled down. All right, guys, our granola is totally cooled down now, and now we can finally move it. So the whole point of not touching it is because you want these big clusters here. See, like you can see right here, you got some bigger pieces like this, which I love. But if you like smaller pieces, you can totally do that too. Since I'm put this on top of my silplat, I'm just gonna go ahead and use this as my vessel to kind of break things up here. But you can see, look at that. Oh, I love these giant clusters like that. Look, our coconut is nice and toasted on there. If you use almonds, they would be nice and toasted too. Like I mentioned earlier, you can use slivered almonds. If you don't have slivered almonds, you can do whole almonds and just chop it up. Look at that. This is so good, just like this. But, which is what I like to do. Like you can just eat it like that. But I love to put it on top of yogurt as my crunch, on top of like a parfait or something. So let's take a look. Want some coconut? No. Yeah? Not too sweet. I could actually even make it a little bit sweeter, but the whole point is to make it not so sweet, right? But it's really up to you. Now all you have to do is stick it in an airtight container. I'm gonna sneak in another bite. And you can eat it for up to 2 weeks. The combinations are endless. You can do pumpkin seeds, you can do sunflower seeds. If you want to do dried fruits like cranberries and dried blueberries, put it in after it's done. Mix it after. But enjoy!